Welcome to part 5 of our live training process here with our Force Induction K-Series G4x plug-and-play example. Now, the last tutorial we focused on doing our low cam full throttle tuning. This tutorial, we're going to learn how to calibrate our high cam full throttle tuning, or when VTEC is going to be enabled. So we're going to be taking a look at doing our fuel calibration process, spark timing calibration process, variable cam control, as well as turning on our VTEC activation point, and then taking a look at our per cylinder knock control and using that as a guideline in making our spark timing adjustments. We're gonna have a lot to cover. Let's jump in so we can check this out. Welcome back to our live training session here with our K-Swap Supercharged NSX. The last tutorial we focused on our low cam wide open throttle tuning. Now ready to turn our attention in doing our high cam or VTEC wide open throttle tuning. We're going to find a lot of what we covered in the last tutorial is going to be similar here. We're going to be introducing, turning on the VTEC engagement with this particular situation. We're going to be focusing on tuning our VE Table 2, which is designated for high cam fuel tuning for VTEC. And we're going to be then mapping out further our variable cam timing that's specific for the high cam operation, as well as taking a look at our spark timing, which we're sharing just a single spark timing table for both low and high cam because we're splitting the spark timing table 1 and 2, interpolating between them for flex fuel control, which we're going to get into in the next tutorial, doing a flex fuel tune using ethanol and then seeing what kind of power we really can make. We're limited for octane on this particular setup here because we are running a lot of boost and it's a stock 11:1 compression, so we're being very conservative with the spark timing. We're going to definitely wake up in power, probably see easily over 500 on ethanol. We'll have to see how it's going to go, but for right now, let's jump in and talk about where we're at and what we're going to be taking a look at here and focusing on in this tutorial. So the very first thing, jumping into the fuel page here, looking into our custom layout, this is our VE Table 1. What we need to focus on is moving into the VE Table 2, because VE Table 1 is 100% nailed down. We know at idle, part throttle, and wide open throttle, this is correct. The airflow modeling and estimation is proper. So what we're going to do is jump over here in our layouts, and we're going to go in here to VTEC fuel. Now we have our Fuel Table 1, Fuel Table 2. Fuel Table 2 turns active when VTEC is set to turn on. Now we have our VTEC currently set to disable. Right now it's set at 9,000. We're going to turn that on and we're going to gauge VTEC relatively early, and we're going to watch on the dyno where the two torque curves cross between the low and high cam. That's going to be the ideal point for the VTEC engagement. Now I do want to mention something very quickly here. We can get a determination or a feel for where the VTEC engagement should be at based on where the peak torque happens on the low cam. Now we could simply look at the graph. If we take a look, we're finding that the peak torque, if we're looking at our plotted lines here from the last pulls of our low cam, we're finding peak torque happens anywhere between roughly 4,300 up to here at about 5,500. So we have a pretty large range where we can engage VTEC. Now taking a look at our VE table, we're going to find here that the VE values should show or should follow along with what we see in terms of the torque curve on the actual dyno plot on the screen, because the airflow and the torque go hand in hand. So the peak torque is where we have peak airflow, and as the torque drops off, the airflow drops off. So we'll find here, as we're looking at the shape of this, we see that we have the majority of our values here, the highest VE values, that's going to be around 15 to 2,000, 2,500 range. Now, we weren't, jump in here, looking at this, we weren't finding that, we weren't able to get, going here at 2,000, we weren't getting up here to this very high MGP level. So these values are just kind of an estimation or a guesstimation. Once we get here about 3,000, 3,500, we're finding that these values look pretty valid. Now, if we're taking a look, 3,000 to roughly 5,000, our VE values are pretty much consistent. This is kind of backing up what we see on the torque curve looking at our dyno graph here, where the torque is relatively flat from 42 to roughly 55. We're seeing that same kind of representation here in our VE table, which is the airflow estimation. So we're going to find we can probably engage VTEC in a variety of ranges in here. What we're going to do here is engage it low at something like 3,000 and test it out, map out our Fuel Table 2 here, our VE table, and then go in and figure out, based on what we're finding for the VE values in this table at our higher loads and looking at what we have here in our table, we'll figure out where that ideal point is going to cross at, where it should be crossing at. What we should find is that it crosses from our Table 1 to Table 2 in terms of the VE values, where the VE values are almost identical to each other. Because if we have the VTEC activated at the right point, that's going to produce a smooth torque curve. And the point where they engage, the cylinder filling should be the same, and so therefore the VE values should be the same. So as long as we've tuned this properly, we have everything nailed down, wherever that transition point, wherever we find that should be at, we should find that the VE value from our table 1 matches pretty much on our table 2. Now what we're going to do here, real quickly, to kind of get back to where we need to be at here, to jump into the table 2, we're going to copy our table 1 settings all the way. Now we have to make sure we're matching the axes, because this table goes out here to 9,000, where this table only goes out to 85. So we're going to go here from 8,500, and we're going to go all the way over here. And actually we're going to copy to, let's go to about 1,500, or 1,000 here might be. 1,500 is good. We'll copy these values from 1,500 and above, and we'll paste them here into our table for the VE table 2, which is VTEC activation. We'll just paste these values. These should be good starting points all the way up here, and we'll do a paste. Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.